Hey guys, I decided with the Mets in the World Series, I decided to go ahead and do another World Series game. This is from Game 1 of the 1969 World Series, and it's the New York Mets against the Baltimore Orioles. I've already done a Strat-o-matic video with the Royals in the World Series from last year's team, 2014, against the Giants. So I thought I'd do one for the Mets, and the only Strat-o-matic cards I have from a season where the Mets made the World Series is 1969. So I thought I would go ahead and do that against the Orioles of '69, one of the great upsets in World Series history. And this is a replay of Game 1, played at Memorial Stadium. And there you see the starting lineups for each of the teams. And also I have the Seaver and Cuellar cards at the bottom. And you can see Agee's leading off in center, Harrelson at short, Cleon Jones in left, Don Clendenin in first, Ron Swoboda in right field hits fifth, Ed Charles, the third baseman, hits sixth, catcher Jerry Grody hits seventh, Al Weiss, the second baseman, hits eighth, and doing the pitching and batting ninth using pitcher card 1 is Tom Seaver. For the Orioles, leading off is left fielder Don Buford. Batting second in center field is Paul Blair. Batting third in right field is Frank Robinson. Batting cleanup at first base is Boog Powell. Batting fifth is the third baseman Brooks Robinson. Hitting sixth and doing the catching is Elrod Hendricks. Batting seventh, and he would go on to be future Mets manager, Davey Johnson. Batting eighth and playing shortstop is the Blade, Mark Belanger. And batting ninth and doing the pitching is left-hander Mike Cuellar, and Cuellar is using pitching card number 4 in the Strat-o-matic set. So get ready for Game 1 of the 1969 World Series, and I'm going to try to have this posted before the actual Game 1 takes place this evening. Okay guys, we're ready to get started here with Game 1 of the 1969 World Series. Got our score sheet all ready to go, dice all ready to go, player cards all ready to go. And as we see here, we've got the starting lineup for the Mets, starting lineup for the Orioles, Tom Seaver, the starting pitcher of the Mets, Cuellar, the starting pitcher for the Orioles. We have the Mets bullpen, Mets bench, we have the Oriole bullpen, and the Oriole bench. So we're all set. But the first two here together will get us started. And that'll be Tommy Agee, and he will be facing Mike Cuellar. And I'm doing this video with the assumption that you know how Strat-o-matic works, so I'm not going to go through the detailing of every single play just to explain it. I want to try to keep this video shorter than what they've been lately. They've been running long on me. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And the first pitch from Cuellar to Agee is a 4-4. So Cuellar 4-4 against Agee. Cuellar 4-4 against Agee. Right-hander, it's a fly ball, center field X. So we need to check the range rating for Paul Blair, since it is an X rating, and Blair is a 1, center field 1, which is the highest rating you can have. So what we're going to do is roll the 20-sided die, get our number. And that is a 4. A 4, and we go to center fielder. Rating number 1, a 4 is a fly ball B, but of course nobody on base, doesn't matter. It is a fly to center. Agee is out one center fielder to another, as Paul Blair, who has great range, showed it there, and tracked down that ball for the out. One away, and that'll bring up the gritty Bud Harrelson, second place hitter, facing Cuellar, and the delivery is a 1-5. 1-5 for Harrelson against a left-hander pitcher is a fly ball left field B, but of course nobody on base, so it's just a simple fly ball to left that is handled by Buford, and there are 2 away. That'll bring up Cleon Jones. Cleon Jones, the left fielder, with 2 outs and the base is empty. The delivery is a 3-4. And a 3-4 is a ground ball pitcher B. Now there is a upside down triangle there, and that is in effect when we use ballpark ratings. In this particular game, I am not going to do that, just to try to speed things up. So it's simply a ground ball back to the pitcher by Cleon Jones. I don't see how Memorial Stadium could affect a ground ball back to the pitcher anyway. So there's 3 up, 3 down, and the inning is over for the Mets. Now we switch sides, and the Orioles will be coming to bat. And as you can see, it's Buford, Blair, and Robinson to lead things off. So Don Buford will start off against Tom Terrific Seaver. And Seaver's first pitch is a 2-5. 2-5 for Buford is a walk. So Buford draws a leadoff walk. Start things out. And that will bring up the center fielder, Paul Blair. So Paul Blair is up. We're not going to try anything funny with Buford yet. We're just starting the game. So let's see what Blair can do. Big hitters are coming up after him. The pitch to Blair is a 3-7. 3-7 is a ground ball second base A. So maybe I should have done something because that is now a double play. So it's a 4-6-3 double play that Blair has hit into. And they're quickly 2 away for Frank Robinson. And now maybe Earl Weaver's wishing he had done something. So here is Frank Robinson. And the pitch is a 1-9. 1-9 is a ground ball to second base. You can see he just missed a home run by 1. But it's a ground ball to second again. Easy out. 1, 2, 3. Orioles go down in order. At the end of 1, it's the Mets nothing and the Orioles nothing. Okay, the Mets are up here in the top of the second. It'll be the middle of the order. Don Clendenin, Ron Swoboda, and Ed Charles. So Clendenin will lead things off against Cuellar. The pitch is a 6-6, and on Cuellar, a 6-6 result is a ground ball third base, B, but the B doesn't matter. So Brooks Robinson fields that cleanly, throws to Powell, 1 away, and we move on now to Ron Swoboda. Right fielder Ron Swoboda. And we'll see what he can do. There is the pitch. It's a 3-3. Against lefties, that is a ground ball to the shortstop. Ground ball, shortstop. So Belanger fields that, no problem. 2 away. And it brings up our third baseman, number 6 hitter, Ed Charles. Ed Charles. Interesting tidbit on Ed Charles. If any of you have seen the movie 42 about Jackie Robinson, there's a scene early on in spring training where Jackie Robinson throws a ball to a little kid before he goes off to be with the Dodgers, and that little kid turned out to be Ed Charles. So that was kind of a neat little tidbit. Anyway, I digress. Here is Charles facing Cuellar. It is a 4-11. A 4-11, that's off Cuellar's card, against a right-hander. 4-11 is a fly ball, right field, B. Of course, the B doesn't matter. It's a fly to right. Frank Robinson handles it easily. Inning's over. At the end of 1.5, we have no score. And now due up for the Orioles here in the bottom of the second. It'll be Boog Powell, Brooks Robinson, and Elrod Hendricks. Bottom of the second, the Boog, who has his own barbecue stand at Camden Yards. So the Boog is up there to lead things off against Seaver. The pitch is a 3-9. 3-9 for Boog is a ground ball to first base. Ground ball first base A, but it's just a play that Clendenin makes easily. 3 unassisted. 1 away. Pitchers are having their way early in this game. And that'll bring up Brooks Robinson. Brooks Robinson. And that's a 3-7. 3-7 is a ground ball to the, let's see here, ground ball second base. So Al Weiss handles that easily. 2 down. A lot of ground balls early on. And now we've got the catcher, Elrod Hendricks. He will step up. And Elrod Hendricks is a 6-4. 6-4 for Seaver. 6-4 against a lefty is a fly ball center field X. So this is a check against Tommy Agee. Tommy Agee is a 1 as well, same as Blair. So we're going to roll the D20 and see if he can make that play, which he usually does. The roll is a 15. 15 in the center fielder category, number 1 rated. 15 is a fly ball C. Of course, the C doesn't matter because no one's on base. And so Agee handles that easily, and the inning's over. So after 2 complete, we are scoreless here at Memorial Stadium. Bottom third of the order is Jerry Grote, Al Weiss, and Tom Seaver to come up here in the top of the third. And Jerry Grote will lead things off against the lefty Cuellar. And Grote, a 1-4. And a 1-4 is a ground ball to short. So Grote grounds to Belanger for out number 1. Already 4 ground outs for Cuellar in this game through the first 7 batters. That'll bring up Al Weiss. Al Weiss. 2-9. A 2-9 is a foul out to Brooks Robinson at third. So Al Weiss popped it up. Brooksy made the play in foul territory. 2 down. And now we've got Tom Seaver. And as I said, Seaver will be hitting off pitching card 1 because that's what it shows on his card. He uses pitcher card 1. So we are using pitcher card 1, which is not a very good hitter's card for a pitcher, even for a pitcher. So Seaver has to hope that the roll goes to Cuellar's card to have a chance, really. So here's the delivery. And it does go to Cuellar's card. It's 4-8. 4-8, but that's a strikeout. So 4-8 is a strikeout, so didn't help Seaver at all on that one. 3 up, 3 down. Cuellar is perfect through 3 innings. And we go to the bottom of the third, still no score. And coming up for the Orioles will be the bottom third of the order of Davey Johnson, Mark Belanger, and Mike Cuellar. So first off will be Davey Johnson, who went on to manage the '86 Mets to the world title. So let's see what Johnson can do. It is a 3-4. 3-4. 3-4 is a ground ball to third. So Ed Charles makes the play, no problem. 1 away. And that will bring up Mark Belanger. Mark Belanger, all field, no hit usually. So let's see what Belanger can do. And the roll is a 5-5, so we're off of Seaver's card. And we've got a split chance here. 1-7 is a single. 8-20 is a line out to short. So let's see if Belanger can roll a 1 through a 7 to get a hit here. He does not. He rolls a 20. So it's a line out to the shortstop. So one shortstop lines out to the other for out number 2. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Mike Cuellar. Now Cuellar is hitting off pitching card number 4. As you can see there, his rating is pitcher 4, which means we use hitter card number 4. It's a little bit better, but not much. And here's the pitch from Seaver. It's a 4-8, so we're coming off Seaver's card. 4-8 against Cuellar. 4-8. 4-8 is a split chance. 1-3 for a single. Otherwise, it's a line out to first, so it's not a good chance, but it's a 1-3 chance. So we roll the D20, and it's a 4. He just missed it. So Cuellar lines it to Clendenin, who snags it to keep it from going past him, and the inning is over. So 3 up, 3 down. At the end of 3 complete from Memorial Stadium, the score is the Mets nothing and the Orioles nothing. Okay, we're ready to start the top of the 4th, and it'll be back to the top of the order, Agee, Harrelson, and Jones to lead things off. So first is Tommy Agee. He flied to center his first time up. Here's the delivery from Cuellar. And it's a 2-9. 2-9, so we're off of Agee. And 2-9 against the lefty is a strikeout. So Tommy Agee fared even worse his second time around as he strikes out. And that'll bring up the gritty Bud Harrelson. Bud Harrelson flied to left his first time up. So we'll see what he can do this time against Cuellar. And the pitch is a 4-10. 4-10. And against a right-hander, 4-10 is a strikeout for Cuellar. So back-to-back Ks here in the top of the fourth. And that will send it over to Cleon Jones with 2 outs and nobody on. Cleon Jones. So we'll see what Cleon can do. The pitch is a 6-10. 6-10 from Cuellar against a right-handed batter. 6-10 is a fly ball to right. So at least he got bat on the ball, but he is out. And Cuellar is perfect through 4 innings actually now. We go to the bottom of the fourth, no score. And for the Orioles, it'll be the top of the order. Buford, Blair, and Robinson due up. And we shall see what they can do against Tom Seaver. So Buford to lead things off. And his first time up, he walked, but then was erased on a double play. So let's see if he can do something this time. The pitch is a 2-4, and a 2-4 is a ground ball to second. He just missed a walk by 1 number, but it's a ground ball to second, so Al Weiss easily throws him out, 1 away. And that will bring up second man in the order, Paul Blair, who hit into the aforementioned double play. He will try to see if he can do something different this time. Here's the pitch from Seaver. It is a 3-6. 3-6, we have a split chance. 3-6, a single from 1 to 7, or a line out to second from 8 to 20. So we're looking for a 1 through a 7 for a base hit here. And there is the roll. It's a 4, so that is a base hit for Paul Blair. First hit of the ball game for either team. Paul Blair singles. And now that'll bring up Frank Robinson. Now Paul Blair has good speed, but with Frank Robinson and Boog Powell coming up, you don't want to run yourself out of an inning. So Earl Weaver is going to play for the proverbial 3-run homer, if he can get it, or a 2-run homer in this case. So here is Frank Robinson. It's a 5-10. 5-10 against Seaver. 5-10 is a ground ball shortstop A, and it is another double play. So this time Frank Robinson hits into a double play. It's a 6-4, 4-3 inning-ending double play. And after 4 complete, it is the Mets nothing and the Orioles nothing. Okay, Don Clendenin, Ron Swoboda, and Ed Charles, the middle of the Mets order, due up here in the 5th. Clendenin grounded to third his first time up. Here's the pitch. It is a 6-4. A 6-4. And a Cuellar against a right-hander. 6-4 is a ground ball shortstop X. So we're going to have to check Mark Belanger's defensive rating. He is a 2 in the range rating. So a 2 is what we're looking for here. His range rating is a 2, shortstop 2. Roll the D20 and see what we get. And it is a 5. So a 5, range of 2 with a 5 is ground ball C. So Belanger makes that play easily. Clendenin is retired. 1 away for Ron Swoboda. Ron Swoboda. Ron Swoboda. And here's the pitch. It is a 4-7. 4-7 is a strikeout. Now there is a dot by the strikeout, which would mean had Cuellar reached his point of no longer being effective, that would have been a hit. But since he has certainly not reached that, that is simply a strikeout. So Swoboda is a strikeout victim. That's the 4th strikeout for Cuellar in this game through 4 2/3 innings. And that'll bring up Ed Charles. Ed Charles. And here's the pitch. It's a 1-7 against left-handers. 1-7 is a pop-out to second base. You see the little omega sign there. That's for clutch if we were using clutch ratings. And that would only come into play if there were 2 outs and a runner in scoring position. I don't know if sometimes I use the clutch, sometimes I don't. In this game, I don't think I'm going to use it. But in this case, it didn't matter. It's a pop out to Davy Johnson at second. And the Mets go down in order once again. And now we go to the bottom of the fifth. Still no score on the board. And coming up for the Orioles in the bottom of the fifth, it'll be the meat of the order. Boog Powell, Brooks Robinson, and Elrod Hendricks. So Boog Powell grounded to his counterpart Clendenin at first base his first time up. So let's check the roll this time to 5-7. Seaver against a left-hander, 5-7, is a strikeout. There's that dot again, but he's not at his point of weakness, so it is a strikeout of Boog Powell. So Seaver gets the K, and now we move on to Brooks Robinson. Brooks Robinson, the batter. Here is Brooksy. It's a 3-7. 3-7 is a ground ball second base. Ground ball second base. So Al Weiss makes an easy play. 2 down, and that'll bring up the catcher, Elrod Hendricks. Elrod Hendricks, the batter. 2 outs, nobody on. And the delivery is a 1-7. 1-7 is a fly ball to center field B. An easy play for Agee. And the inning is over. So after 5 complete from Memorial Stadium, it's the Mets nothing and the Orioles nothing. Bottom third of the order for the Mets here in the 6th. It'll be Jerry Grody, Al Weiss, and Tom Seaver. So Jerry Grody, who grounded to short his first time up, will get ready for Cuellar's pitch, and here it is. It's a 6-3. 6-3 against a right-hander is a fly ball, left field X. So we're going to check the left fielder, Don Buford. He is rated a 2. So his range rating is 2. So let's roll the D20 and see what we get as a result and see if we're checking range or error. So it's a 2 rated, and he rolled a 2. All right. So it's a 2 rated in left field, and the roll is a 2, so that is a single. A single for Jerry Grody breaks up the no-no from Mike Cuellar. So a leadoff single has Grody at first, and now Al Weiss is the batter. It would normally be a bunt situation, but not with the pitcher up next. So Al Weiss will go ahead and hit for himself and not try to bunt. So here is the pitch. It's a 6-8 against Cuellar, 6-8, and that's a split chance. It's either a double or a single. So both situations could be good here. So it's a 1-7 for a double and 8-20 for a single. It is an 8, so he just missed a double, but it is a single star. So Grody moves to third on that single. Now runners are at the corners with nobody out. And that brings up the pitcher, Tom Seaver, who's in a definite bunting situation. And the bunting rating is a B. Seaver's bunting rating is a B. So we'll go to the advanced bunting chart here. The sacrifice bunts. And let's see what we get here. Sacrifice B, we're going to be looking at the advanced strategy chart for sacrifices, and we're going to be in column B, rolling 2 D6s and checking the result. So the 2d6 roll is a 7. So go to column B, cross-reference number 7. It says batter is thrown out by first baseman, runners advance 1 base. So it's a sacrifice hit, presumably 3-4, since the first baseman fielded it. Usually the second baseman goes to cover. So we're going to call it a sacrifice hit 3-4. And that moves Weiss to second base. Grody stays where he is. It was not a squeeze bunt. It was just a sacrifice to get Weiss into scoring position. So now the Mets have 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out. And they've got the top of the order, Tommy Agee, at the plate. The Orioles are going to play the infield in because of the way this game has been going. They want to shut that run off if possible. So that brings those plus ratings into play. If we roll a result that has a plus by it, that's a drawn-in infield play that changes the result, but we'll see what happens. Cuellar to AG. It's a 3-7. A 3-7 is a walk. So the bases are now loaded with the walk to AG. That loads them up for Bud Harrelson. So Bud Harrelson's up in a big spot. Bases loaded, 1 out. Infield now is at double play depth for the Orioles because they can get out of this with a double play. So here is Harrelson. And it's a 6-9. 6-9. 6-9 is a ground ball shortstop A, and that is, in fact, the inning-ending double play that they were looking for. So it's a 6-4, 4-3 double play. Cuellar gets out of it. He loses the no-hitter but maintains the shutout, and as we go to the bottom of the 6th, it's still Mets nothing and Orioles nothing. Okay, bottom of the 6th, and due up for the Orioles, it's the bottom third of the order. Davey Johnson, Mark Belanger, and Mike Cuellar. So, Davey Johnson will lead things off. He grounded to third his first time up. And the roll is a 1-7. And a 1-7 is a fly ball to center field. So, Davey Johnson flies to Tommy Agee. 1 away very quickly for Mark Belanger. Mark Belanger. Belanger lined to his counterpart at short, Bud Harrelson, his first time up. This roll is all fours, a 4-8. 4-8, and that is a walk off of Seaver's card. 4-8 is a walk. So Belanger walks, and that will open up the possibility now for Cuellar to bunt. Even though there's already 1 out, that at least gets the runner in scoring position for the top of the order to get 1 shot at a base hit. So we look at Cuellar, and he is a bunting A. Cuellar is a rated bunting A. So Cuellar is a bunting A. We go to our advanced chart again. Go through the same routine. Roll the 2 red D6s. And the result is a 10. So on the 10 chart of sacrifice A, the number 10, it says batter is thrown out by third baseman, runners advance 1 base. So it's a sacrifice hit 5-4, and Cuellar does his job, and Belanger will move to second base. So he is in scoring position now with 2 outs for the top of the order and Don Buford. So Buford with a chance to get a base hit here and put the Orioles on the board. Buford is 0 for 1 with a walk. Let's see what he can do here against Seaver. It's a 3-7. 3-7 against right-handed pitching is a ground ball to first base. So Buford unable to get the runners home. He grounds to Clendenin to end the inning. And after 6 complete here at Memorial Stadium, we're still scoreless. Mets nothing, Orioles nothing. All right, top of the 7th, and for the Mets, it'll be the middle of the order. Cleon Jones, Don Clendenin, and Ron Swoboda to start the top of the 7th against Cuellar. In case you're wondering, Cuellar shows here his point of weakness is a 9, so he can go all 9 innings before he gets tired. Seaver has an 8, so the bullpens may or may not come into play in this game. We'll see. Here is Cleon Jones, the batter, and it's a 6-9. Cuellar against a right-hander, 6-9 is a ground ball to short. So there's 1 away as Jones grounds to Belanger. 1 down, and that'll bring up Don Clendenin. Don Clendenin, who has very good numbers against left-handed pitching, but so far in this game he's been held to 2 groundouts. So let's see what Clendenin can do. It's a 5-9. 5-9 on Cuellar, 5-9. Well, 1-5 is a home run, or 6-20 is a fly ball to left. So we're looking for a 1-5 on the D20, and that will get Clendenin a home run and put the Mets on the board. Any other result, 6 or higher, is simply a fly to left. So let's see what Clendenin can do. It's a 4, so Clendenin goes yard. Clendenin comes through with a home run, and that puts the Mets on top 1-0. Don Clendenin. Solo shot thanks to a 4 roll on the D20. So Don Clendenin puts the Mets ahead 1-0. See if Cuellar can shake that off, and it'll be Ron Swoboda. He's grounded to short and struck out his 2 times up. Here's the pitch. It's a 4-6. 4-6 for Cuellar is a ground ball to the shortstop. So ground ball shortstop. Belanger fields that one easily again. 2 down. And now that will bring up third baseman Ed Charles. So Ed Charles is going to come up here, and we'll see what Ed Charles can do. Here's the pitch. It's a 5-3. 5-3 is a ground ball first base X. So we're going to check on Boog Powell and check his defensive rating. Boog Powell. And Boog Powell in this game, or in this season, is a number 3. So he's kind of average on his range. So there's a chance that this might scoot through. We will see. First things first, got to roll the D20. So let's see what the D20 roll is. It is a 9. So first base check says roll dice on splits 7 through 15. So the 9 is out of range here on the range factor. So we have to check the error rating. And to do that, we roll the 2 D6s. And that roll is a 7. So we go to his error rating for Boog Powell, which in this case, for this season, is an 8. So we go to E8, and we look up the roll of 7, and that falls in the 6 to 10 range, so it says ground ball A. So it would have been a double play had a runner been on first. It's simply a ground ball to first base unassisted. So Boog Powell was able to make the play. But the Mets get on the board with the Don Clendenin home run, and it's 7th inning stretch time here at Memorial Stadium. It's the Mets 1 and the Orioles nothing. Okay, bottom of the 7th, and it's the 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Orioles. Blair, Robinson, and Powell due up. So Paul Blair, see what he can do to get things going here for the Orioles. He is 1 for 2. He has the only Oriole hit of the game so far. So see if he can get a second hit off of Seaver. And the pitch is a 2-7. 2-7 is a single. So he gets his second hit. It's a single star, but nobody's on base. So it's simply a single for Paul Blair to lead off the 7th inning. And that'll bring up Frank Robinson. And again, Earl Weaver, a little bit on the stubborn side, is still pulling for that 2-run homer. So we're not going to take a chance on Blair running and getting thrown out, especially down 1-0. So Frank Robinson is up, and the pitch is a 3-6. A 3-6 is a split chance, 1 to 3 for a single, or a line out to third if it's 4 to 20. So the Orioles are looking for a 1 to 3 here. Not very good odds, but you never know. And the roll is an 11, so it is in fact a line out to Ed Charles at third for the first out of the inning. So Frank Robinson lines out, 1 down, and that'll bring up big Boog Powell. Boog Powell is grounded to first and struck out in 2 trips against Seaver. Here's the pitch. It's a 2-7. 2-7 for Boog, and this is a good one. Column 2, row 7 is a split chance. It's either a double or a single, depending on what happens here. A 1 to 7 is a double, and an 8 to 20 is a single. So Boog's going to roll the D20 here and see if he can get the double or not. The roll is a 7. He just missed it. I'm sorry, he just got it. It's a set. 1 to 7 is a double. So Boog doubles. It is a double star. So the indication is Blair can only go to third. And Boog Powell is at second now. So runners are at second and third. There's still only 1 out. And Brooks Robinson is up. And now the Mets will bring the infield in because they don't want to give up the tying run. So Brooks Robinson is up to bat, second and third. Brooksy has grounded to second twice. So we'll see what he can do this time against Seaver. The pitch is a 2-8. 2-8. And unfortunately for Brooks, 2-8 is a pop out to second base. So he's unable to advance the runners, whether the infield was in or not. So he pops out for the second out, and now it's up to Elrod Hendricks to get the Orioles on the board, although a single should, well, with Powell running you never know, but a single should score 2 runs. So let's see what Hendricks can do. It's a 3-8. And a 3-8, we don't have to worry about it. It's a pop out to the first baseman, Clendenin. And the inning is over. So the Orioles had runners at second and third with only 1 out, but 2 consecutive pop outs, and Seaver is out of the inning. So we played 7 complete here at Memorial Stadium, and the score, the Mets 1, the Orioles nothing. Bottom of the order for the Mets here in the 8th, Jerry Grody, Al Weiss, and Tom Seaver. So Grody is up, and Grody is 1 for 2 with a single. He actually broke up the no-hitter back in the 6th. And the pitch is a 2-11. 2-11 against left-handed pitching. 2-11 is a foul out to third base for Jerry Grody. So Grody fouls out to Brooks Robinson for 1 away. So there's 1 away. That's straight there. And that'll bring up second baseman Al Weiss. Al Weiss. It's a 4-9. 4-9 for Cuellar. He's got a split chance, a single of 1. If you can roll a 1 on a D20, it's a single. Otherwise, it's a ground ball to first. So we'll go ahead and try to see if Al Weiss can roll a 1. Not likely, but you never know. 5% chance, I guess. He rolled a 3. That was close, but not close enough. So Al Weiss grounds to Boog Powell unassisted for the second out. And that'll bring up Tom Seaver, hitting off pitching card number 1. So we'll see what Seaver can do here against Cuellar. 2 out, space is empty. It's a 5-12. 5-12 is a ground ball, third base X. So we're going to check Brooks Robinson, Gold Glove Brooks Robinson. And he is, as might be expected, he is listed as a 1. So that was pretty obvious. And for anybody that knows Strat-o-matic and knows Brooks Robinson, that's not a surprise that he has the top range factor. So now we'll roll the D20 to make sure nothing funky happens. The roll is a 13. So that is actually out of the range category. So now we're going to check Brooks Robinson's error rating. And Brooksy is a 14 error rating. So we're going to roll the 2 D6s. And check it against the 14 error rating. It's a 5. So third base, error rating of 14. And a 5 is actually an error. That's an E1. So 1 base error. Not an E1, but a 1 base error. So Seaver reaches on the error by, of all people, Brooks Robinson. So inning continues as Brooks Robinson makes a rare error. And now that we go to the top of the order for Tommy Agee. Tommy Agee. Tommy Agee. See what he can do here against Cuellar. 0 for 2 with a walk and a run. I'm sorry, 0 for 2 with a walk is 3 trips. So here's the pitch. It's a 4-8. 4-8 is a strikeout. 4-8 is a strikeout. So Tommy Agee out on strikes to end the 8th inning. And for the Mets, no runs there. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Still Mets 1, Orioles nothing. Okay, bottom of the 8th. Orioles have the bottom of the order, Johnson, Belanger, and Cuellar. However, Merv Retman has picked up a bat and is loosening in the dugout. Looks like he will be the new the pinch hitter here in the bottom of the 8th. And then it looks like Eddie Watt is loosening in the Oriole bullpen. So he would be coming on in the 9th. But first things first, start with Davey Johnson. He is grounded to third and fly to center in 2 trips against Seaver. And Seaver's pitch. It's a 4-7. 4-7. And that's a split chance. 1 to 4 is a double. 5 or higher is a fly ball to center field. So Johnson wants that 1 to 4 to get a double out of this. We'll see. There's the roll. It's a 16, so that is far from a 4. And that'll be a fly ball to Agee in center field for out number 1. Now that will bring up Mark Belanger. And we might get a pinch hitter for Belanger too. Earl Weaver is mulling this over because Belanger is not a very good hitter and he needs offense. So we will see a pinch hitter for Belanger before we see a pinch hitter for Cuellar. So Dave May is going to pinch hit here. Left-handed hitter against Seaver. Dave May. It's a pinch hitter. Dave May. And as we can see on Dave May's card, he's predominantly better against right-handed pitchers, which Seaver is, especially if he gets column 3. He's kind of heavy in column 3 there. So that's what the Orioles are shooting for. So Dave May pinch hitting against Seaver in place of Belanger, who was 0 for 1 with a walk. So Dave May, it's a 5-5. So Seaver against the lefty, 5-5 is a strikeout with a star, but we have not finished 8 innings yet. He gets up through to 8 complete before he loses effectiveness, plus the fact he's pitching a shutout. So that is still a strikeout. So Dave May strikes out for the second out. And now Merv Retman will pinch hit for Cuellar. Merv Retman will pinch hit for Cuellar. With 2 outs and the base is empty. And Eddie Watt will come in and be the new pitcher for the Orioles. So Retman, 6'9", against Seaver, is a ground ball shortstop X. So we need to check Bud Harrelson. He is an E2 on the range factor. So we'll roll the D20. See if it's a range check or an error check. The roll is a 10. And on a shortstop, that is out of range. So we're checking the error rating. Bud Harrelson does have an E27. So we do have a decent chance for an error here. E27. So let's see. It's a 10. So shortstop, E27. But fortunately for Harrelson, 10 falls into the ground ball A rating, or in this case just a ground ball because no one's on base. So it's a ground ball to Harrelson. He fields it cleanly, and the inning's over. So after 8 complete here at Memorial Stadium, the score is still the Mets 1 and the Orioles nothing. Okay, numbers 2, 3, and 4 for the Mets here in the 9th, Harrelson, Jones, and Clendenin. And they will be facing new Oriole pitcher Eddie Watt. So Eddie Watt is on, and he will be facing Bud Harrelson. Harrelson's 0 for 3. Grounded into a double play his last time up. Here he is against Watt. It is a 5-12. 5-12 against lefties. And that's a potential single. We've got a 1 through 5 is a single, or 6 through 20 is a line out. So we're going to see if Harrelson can roll a 1 through 5 on the D20. He does not. He rolls an 8. So that is a line out to Davey Johnson at second base. So there's 1 away here in the 9th. And that will bring up the number 3 hitter, Cleon Jones. Cleon Jones will step up and face Eddie Watt. And there's the pitch. It's a 6'9". 6'9" is a ground ball shortstop X, so we're going to check Belanger. Mark Belanger. And Belanger is a, I put him away because he went pinch hit for us. Now I go back and find him. Mark Belanger is a range rating of, if I can finally get him over here, it's a range rating. It's a range rating of 2, error rating of 26. So we'll see if the error rating comes into play. But the first things first, range rating of 2. So we'll see what happens here. And that's what I get for not writing the ratings on the score sheet. But I was trying to save some time. Anyway, here's the roll to see if Belanger can get to the ball. It's a 16. And a shortstop 2-16 is a ground ball A. So Belanger was able to get to it. It's a 6-3 ground out for Cleon Jones. 2 away. And that will bring up Don Clendenin. And Clendenin is responsible for the only run of this game via the home run. And ironically enough, he is now going to be pinch hit for because he predominantly hits against left-handers. So we're going to bring a right-hander in. I'm sorry, a left-hander in. And that would be the left-handed hitting Ed Kranepool. So Ed Kranepool does a little bit better against right-handed pitching. So Ed Kranepool comes in. He's a little bit better defender too at first base. So Ed Kranepool, Gil Hodges has decided to bring in Kranepool to pinch hit here in the ninth against Eddie Watt. So let's see if Kranepool has any magic in his bat. It's a 5-6 against lefties. 5-6 is a ground ball to first, and obviously the dot there is for the pitcher's point of weakness, which Eddie Watt has not come close to reaching. So that is an easy ground ball to Boog Powell, and the inning is over. So nothing doing for the Mets in the ninth. We go to the bottom of the ninth, last chance for the Orioles. It's the Mets 1 and the Orioles nothing. Okay, we're ready to start the bottom of the ninth. A couple of administrative changes. Something I forgot to mention for the top of the ninth. After Dave May hit for Belanger, I forgot to bring in a shortstop for him. And that happens sometimes when you're doing a video. You can forget the simple things. So Bobby Floyd actually is taken over at short and batting in the number 8 slot. And of course, Eddie Watt, the pitcher, is hitting the 9th slot. And Kranepool, after he pinch hit for Clendenin, is now at first base and batting cleanup. But now we're in the bottom of the ninth, and it's the top of the order for the Orioles. Don Buford is up. Seaver trying to close it out. There is action in the Met bullpen just in case, and that is the left-hander Tug McGraw. So McGraw is loosening in the bullpen just in case he might be needed, in case Seaver should falter. But Don Buford is up. He's 0 for 2 against Seaver with a walk. So let's see what Buford can do. It's a 5-10 against the left-handed batter. 5-10 is a fly ball to left field. So Buford flies to his counterpart Cleon Jones in left field for out number 1. And Seaver is on the verge of pitching his team to a shutout victory here in Game 1. And next up is Paul Blair. Blair is 2 for 3, so there is hope here. He's gotten 2 of the hits for the Orioles in this game off of Seaver. There is the pitch. It's a 5-7. And Seaver, against the right-hander 5-7, is a strikeout. Strikeout. Now, the only problem is that there's a dot there talking about his point of weakness. So there's a quandary, and it can go several different ways. I believe the rule book talks about something about if the pitcher is pitching a shutout, that the point of weakness may not be as effective. But I'm going to call it the way it is on the card. And since it's a dot there, I'm going to have Paul Blair single off of Seaver. Because he is past his point of weakness, according to the card. So that's a chance you take when you leave him in there. And if I'm doing that technically incorrect, I apologize for that. One of these things about these solo games is you can kind of not make up the rules as you go along, but you can do certain options to suit what you need. And I should have probably mentioned that before the result came up, and not get stuck in that kind of quandary. But that's the way it goes. And now Frank Robinson is up. And now Tug McGraw and Nolan Ryan are both in the bullpen. So lefty-righty action for the Mets just in case. All right, Frank Robinson. Seeing what he can do with Blair at first. There's 1 out. So do we want to have Blair try to steal and get in scoring position? That is a thought. Even with Earl Weaver and his reluctance to run sometimes, it's possible we could run with Paul Blair. If we look at Paul Blair, his jump rating is a 17 and a 12 here. 2 and a 5. So if he rolls anything between a 2 and a 5 on 2d6s, that means he gets a good jump. So let's see if we can get a good jump out of Blair. and we do not. It's a 7, so that certainly hurts his chances. Seaver doesn't. He holds runners fair. It's not good or bad. He's at a 0 rating for holding runners. And as far as his throwing arm goes, Jerry Grote's a -3, so he's certainly tough to run on. So Paul Blair is less than a 50-50 chance to make it. So Earl Weaver has reconsidered and will let Frank Robinson hit for himself. If he gets to a double play, so be it. So here we go, Robinson against Seaver. It's a 6-7. A 6-7 is a strikeout. So Frank Robinson down on strikes for out number 2. 1 out away from ending this thing. Seaver on fumes. And now Gil Hodges has motioned to the bullpen. And that will do it for Tom Seaver. He will be lifted with 1 out away from a shutout. And lefty Tug McGraw. Tug McGraw, left-hander facing Boog Powell, the left-hander. So we're setting up a lefty-on-lefty matchup with Tug McGraw facing Boog Powell. So as McGraw gets his warm-up pitches, we are all set to go here. 2 outs in the 9th. Boog Powell. You're not going to pinch hit for him. He's swinging away against McGraw. Here's the pitch from Tug. It's a 6-2. 6-2 against left-handers is a fly ball to left field X. So we're going to check Cleon Jones's range rating and see if he can make a play here. Cleon Jones, his range rating is a 2. So he's got a range rating of 2. And I'll pull that up for you. He's got a range rating of 2. And he's got an error rating of 3. So he's a range 2 E3. Keep that in mind, range 2 E3. Because both numbers may come into play. So he's a range number 2 right in here, range 2. And now we need to see what the D20 says. We'll check the D20. And the roll in the D20 is a 20. So a 2 rating for range and a 20 is a fly ball C. So Cleon Jones, much as he did to end the World Series altogether, cradles in the fly ball in left field to end the ball game. Mets win it 1-0 against the Orioles in a dramatic pitcher's duel between Mike Cuellar and Tom Seaver. Tom Seaver gets the win. Cuellar takes the loss. Tug McGraw gets the save. And the only run of the game was the solo home run from Don Clendenin. So Game 1 is over and done with. And so I'm not going to play the whole series out. It's just doing this as a Game 1 function. I didn't really intend to do this per se with Steve Towers' channel being Game 1, but I'd already done a Game 1 and posting it. It probably hasn't even posted yet. It's in the middle of being posted. Using Status Pro for the current World Series is being played tonight between the Royals and the Mets. So, like I said, I'd already done a World Series game for the Royals. So this time I thought I'd do one for the Mets. And after watching Steve's video talking about Game 1, I decided to go ahead and do this. I really wanted to do the Game 1 of '88, Dodgers and A's, because of the iconic Kirk Gibson home run. Even though I'm an A's fan and I really didn't like that, I thought that was great drama for a Game 1. Usually dramas are in Game 6s or Game 7s. But anyway, I did not have the Strat-o-matic cards for '88. I do have it on PC, but that's not the same. So decided to go ahead and do the Mets of '69, since the Mets are playing tonight. And I don't know if this is going to give the Mets good karma or not. We shall see. The Mets lost their game that I played on Status Pro earlier today. And my video was running out of time. I've got an hour time limit on this camera to record in one sitting. And the way the game went into extra innings, it was really pushing the time. And what actually happened there is Jared Dyson, with 2 outs, singled, stole second, and then scored on a single by Alcides Escobar, and won the game in walk-off fashion, 6-5 in 11 innings. So that did not bode well for the Mets. But now the Mets win in this game in Strat-o-matic from 1969, so maybe there's a neutral karma now between those two. We shall see. Anyway, that's my take on Game 1 of a series, and chose to do Strat-o-matic 1969 set. I really wanted to do the 69 Game 1 of this series using payoff pitch baseball, but as I was gathering my things together, I could not locate the tub that has the 69 cards in it. I'll have to look for that later, but I was kind of in a hurry, so I went ahead and grabbed the Strat-o-matic 69 set and did that. So hopefully that turned out well. It was a pretty fast game, fast-moving game, being the fact that it was such a low-scoring game. Don't know how exciting it was, but it was fun to play. I haven't rolled a game of Strat-o-matic in a while, so that was kind of neat to get back to that. There's a lot of games out there: Strat-o-matic, payoff pitch, replay baseball, status pro, and history maker baseball, and I like them all. I mean, they're great games. All of them have their own appeal, and if I don't do a video on one particular one, it doesn't mean I've stopped playing that game. I play all these on a rotation basis just as the mood hits me, and I enjoy them all. I don't have anything bad to say about any of those games. They're all really good games, and they all have their perks to them, and idiosyncrasies and quirkiness that makes them appealing. But in this case, it's the Strat-o-matic game and 69 World Series. So signing off from Memorial Stadium again with a final score in Game 1 of the 1969 World Series: New York Mets 1, the Baltimore Orioles 0.